What's going on YouTube? K293 here with a surprise, I suppose, video tutorial on a pen spinning trick. And I know this is a surprise because I have not released a pen spinning video in a very long time. And probably the most asked question on any of my given videos, probably combined, is when are you releasing another pen spinning video? And the answer is right now. Surprise, happy birthday, Merry Christmas, whatever. So, reason why I haven't done this in a long time is because I didn't have the what I'll call real estate to do it. I didn't have the equipment, didn't have this light setup, camera setup, etc. For the past 10 weeks, I was at my college doing a research internship, which turned out to be very fun and very awesome. I'm kind of upset that it ended, but nevertheless, this has given me the opportunity to make a pen spinning trick to help you guys out once again. So that's my brief explanation as to why I haven't been able to make videos as of very, very late. And here it goes. So this is a video tutorial for the continuous fingerless thumb around, also known as the continuous FLTA, and the trick looks something like this. So when doing this trick, there are some obvious prerequisites. There's obviously the most basic of all pen spinning tricks, that is the thumb around, and the slightly more advanced, but still necessary to master, double thumb around. And the thing to note is that you have to be very consistent with both of these tricks. If you're consistent with the double thumb around, that pretty much implies that you're consistent with the normal thumb around. And the reason why consistency is a very, very, very important factor in this trick is because it's continuous, meaning that if you were skilled enough and if you were consistent enough, you could theoretically hit an infinite amount of fingerless thumb arounds. That's why it's called continuous, meaning no finite length or number. So, of course, there's always human error involved. We're not exactly accurate. You could program a robot if you wanted to be able to do continuous fingerless thumb rounds upwards to infinity if you could do it. But we are humans, not robots. So if you practice and get consistent, you can do a continuous fingerless thumb round to as many as you want. I really consider continuous anything from 3 to 4 and up. Not really 3, but in certain cases, certain power tricks, I would consider 3 continuous. 4 and up generally is what I would consider multiple or continuous. So that's why you saw in that example, I did 5 just to prove that I can do it. I don't want to be the blind leading the blind, for example. I will say I haven't been pen spinning for a very long time, so I'm not that consistent, but hopefully I can be consistent enough to make this tutorial to help you guys out. So that's a little bit of a disclaimer. Now to actually get on to the tutorial. So I said consistency is key, and when especially doing this trick, you want to look out for mainly one thing when you're doing the prereqs. You'll notice that when I did my double thumb around tutorial, I said that you should catch your thumb arounds around this point of the pen, meaning that you have most of the weight and or length of the pen out back, and then a minority of the weight in front. So it looks here about 1/3 of the pen is on the palm side of my hand, and then 2/3 of the pen is behind my hand. And like I said in the double thumb around tutorial, you want to be able to catch your thumb around here, but for the continuous fingerless thumb around, you want to catch your double thumb arounds here. And the reasoning is exactly the same. If you guys don't remember what I mentioned, or why I mentioned that, is because when you do continuous thumb rounds, or when you want to do another thumb round from this position, you want to have your thumb as close to the starting point as possible for the next thumb around. So the thumb round starts up here somewhere, right? With about the exact opposite, about 2/3 of the pen down here, 1/3 of the pen up here. And if you end your double thumb around here, your thumb doesn't have to move all that far to get up here. Only might have to move an inch or so, or a few centimeters for everyone else in the world who's not in the US. So if you catch the double thumb round, say at an extreme down here, you have to move your thumb all the way up here, which can be several inches or several centimeters, which is not ideal. not only do you significantly increase your chance of dropping the pen, but it also looks awkward when you're doing that in the air. And I would try to demonstrate how weird that looks, but I probably couldn't do it because it would be hard. Like to be able to catch a thumb around here and be able to do the next thumb around up here, difficult, not good because it's not consistent. So you want to make sure you're able to do your double thumb rounds consistently. You want to be able to catch it somewhere between the middle point and the 1/3 point here, like that. The closer you are to the middle, I'd say would be better because again, your thumb has to move less, but there's a chance that doing that is not very consistent. So whatever feels comfortable for you to finish off your double or single thumb rounds would be okay. So my double thumb rounds tend to end towards the 1/3, 2/3 ratio of front to back weight or length of the pen. But if you catch yours more so in the middle, that's perfectly okay too, still completely doable, but you'll just have to make an even smaller adjustment from here to do the next thumb around. And I didn't really like the fact that most tutorials, when I was learning this trick at the time, said, oh, you basically do a thumb around and then keep doing that. Because duh, like everyone knows that in theory, that's what the continuous fingerless thumb around is. That's what the name directly implies. But to say that you have to be consistent in your double thumb rounds and then consequently your continuous fingerless thumb rounds is a different story. So as with any pen swinging trick, practice is key. I would definitely practice, instead of doing thumb rounds while you're waiting in class or in lecture or in class and lecture during a test, whatever, do double thumb rounds. You know, just do one extra thumb around. And then, first of all, not only will you impress your friends, but you're also practicing a lot for the continuous thumb around. So that was a triple thumb around, for example. You saw that I did that a little bit differently. That was unintentional, but you see I was catching it more so towards the middle and it had a different look to it. So however you want to do your thumb around continuously, it's very different for every person. Every person has their different style. Which brings me to my next point, is that yours might look different than mine. So if you're looking at mine trying to make yours look exactly like mine, maybe you like my style differently than someone else's, it might not work for you because everyone naturally has their own different style. I know someone, I think S777, if he's still spinning, I don't know because I don't follow the news, he tends to just use his thumb and goes kind of like this, I think, and I can't do that. That's his style. It has a very unique look. He can do it that way. I can try, but I can't really do it that way. It just doesn't work for me. I do what's best for me, which is kind of like this and just going like this. I think S777 also does it that way too, but I usually look like I'm pointing at the table and then I use my index finger to kind of not really catch the pen, but make sure it's spinning on this plane. So if I didn't have it there, I know some people can do theirs just their thumb up, and at that point there's a lot of wiggle room. It can move up and down, it can move all around. There's a lot of wiggle room here. I don't like that because it's not as controlled, obviously, and in my opinion, it's harder. But there are people who can do that, and if you can do it and that's your style, go for it. You know, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it's different than mine. What I found is easier is just going like this, like that, and letting the pen fall where it may, using my index finger as a guide to make sure it's on this plane so that it can easily spin around my thumb. Now you'll notice obviously that it is, well, besides my hitchhiker's thumb, you can see that this is pretty much a 90-degree angle, which makes sense because if the pen is supposed to be spinning around your thumb like this, you need something on the perpendicular plane to keep it spinning around this, what I'll call axle or axis. So keep that in mind when you're doing your thumb arounds continuously. Same goes for if you want to do it like this. You want to keep your hand, I would guess, like this part, the fleshy part of your index finger, relatively perpendicular to your thumb, if you can do that. And because I know people have asked me on my other thumb around tutorials, no, you don't have to be double jointed like me. You don't have to have a hitchhiker's thumb to do this trick. It does help. I will say that off the bat. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It does help to learn that from what I would expect anyway. But it's not impossible. You know, not every pen spinner is double jointed. Again, it does help. I have some friends who are able to do thumb arounds without a hitchhiker's thumb. Now, granted, they're just like, they're not pen spinners, but they can do single thumb rounds without a hitchhiker's thumb. So it is doable, don't get discouraged, and just keep practicing. Again, practice your double thumb arounds in class while you're waiting for your teacher or professor to pass out papers in an exam room. Maybe not an exam in case you drop it, then you're just, distracting everyone. But instead of doing just single thumb rounds when you're bored, do double thumb rounds. And then again, notice where you catch it. If you can do that consistently, you'll be better off. I didn't do that when I was training, but I think that it would be helpful to do that. Just find minor adjustments to be able to do it consistently, and then you should be good to go. And then just piece it together. There's a double, and then you can just try doing one more. There's a triple. You can try doing quadruple. And then once you get past 3 or 4 consistently, I'd say that maybe from the 5 to 7 range is doable. Once you hit above 7 to 9, you should be okay. I mean, there's no reason why you need to do 10 continuous fingerless thumb rounds in a row in a combo or as a finisher, unless you're going for some crazy weird thing that you're doing. But if you want to do that, go ahead. I would say if you can do 5 consistently, that should be okay, because I don't think a finisher in pen spinning needs to be that long, because at that point, if you get past like 5 or 7, it gets a little tedious, gets a little boring. You want to finish off strong, but you don't want, the wow factor to kind of die down after a while. Unless you're going for a world record in continuous fingerless thumb rounds, then I don't think you need to be any more consistent than being able to get 5 to 7 down at a time. So this has been my tutorial for the continuous fingerless thumb around. If you guys are having any questions or have any problems, leave them down below. I'll try to get to them as best I can. Take a look at the slow-mo at the beginning and at the end of this video for more help, and I will see you guys in the next video.